Well, let's now bring on board the management of Maruti, Mr. Shashank Srivastava. He's the Executive Director for Marketing and Sales, and he joins us now in the show. Thank you so much, Mr. Srivastava, for joining in. So August sales picked up, not compared to the previous month, but compared to August 2019 as well. How are you seeing demand trends, shaping up? And, we are in the midst of a weak economy. Do you think that would perhaps impact affordability of cars in any manner?
As you rightly pointed out, there has been a month-on-month improvement. So April, for example, was a zero for the industry because of the lockdown. May was a little better because that's the time when retail started opening up. June was better than May. July was better than June. August was better than July by almost 15-16%. So I think there has been a month-on-month rapid progress after the lockdown started in March and then subsequently lifted sometime in the May first week. But then the comparison with last year, July, August, for example, might be a little misleading because last year, if you recall, Q2 was really bad for the industry. August, in fact, was the worst month if you see the last whole year, except March, because March was affected by the lockdown completely. So although, yes, the industry has shown growth over last August, but I'm a little, probably reading too much into that might be, I believe, a mistake. Going forward, yes, the demand bounce back has been there. I'm a little uncertain about the future at this time. And therefore, the industry itself actually has not been making any prediction for the future because, as you know, the industry sales, the long-term industry sale depends on the economic fundamentals, the GDP per capita growth, where there is a very high correlation of almost 0.986 with the GDP per capita income growth. So that depends a lot, future demand depends a lot on how the economy shapes up. And also because car buying is a discretionary purchase, it will be affected by sentiments. And sentiments at this time is going to be determined by which way the COVID goes. So we could have a virus downside or a vaccine upside. We really don't know. And we did find, of course, in August, a good bounce back, especially in areas like Kerala, where there was Onam, and also in the western part of India, where we had the Ganesh Chaturthi. So this is a little uncertain. It's difficult to predict which way the market will move. But yes, there has been a good bounce back.
So you mentioned that it's difficult to predict demand. Are you seeing this trend across segments, and do you think your peers are facing similar trends in the segment that you're present in?
Yes, so I was referring to the overall demand. But of course, the relative demand in this segment across segments will be different. We already see that in the data which is available for us for the period April to August so far. For example, it was expected, and it is logically and also by consumer research, that people will downgrade their choices towards the lower end of the spectrum. In other words, a large car buyer might go for a middle-level car, a middle level to a entry level to used car, and used car to two-wheeler, and so on and so forth. So that is something which we observe. And what we observe is that the buying of first-time buyers have increased. This is now clear from the data. Earlier, it was a speculation based on logic and also based on consumer research. But now we can actually see that first-time buyers have gone up by about 4-5%. We also see additional car buying going up because people are shunning public transport in favor of personal transport. And also we see that one clear trend that the replacement buying has come down, which is because people are holding on to their older vehicles a little longer before they upgrade to the new cars. So yes, segment-wise, the relative demand is differently affected. Of course, we have seen an uptick in the SUV demand as well as a segment, but I think it's also related to a lot of new models which have been introduced in that segment. New model introduction always gives a boost to the immediate demand in any segment, and we have seen that in the SUV segment as well. this year.
Okay, the festive season is around the corner, and that's really a great opportunity as well for auto companies to recoup any lost sales because of the lockdown. So the question is, would you be coming up with promotions, offerings to lure the customer?
Yeah, so this is, I think, by far a very common question which is being asked, whether the sales promotion amounts will go up for the consumers during the festival season coming up in October and November. I think while the demand pattern itself is very uncertain, as I just mentioned for various reasons, it is also true that the cost pressure on the manufacturers have actually gone up because of the currency movements, the movement upwards of such rare earth material as palladium, which goes into the making of BS6 vehicles, which is now the norm. And also because of the loss of volumes in Q1, there would obviously be pressure on the manufacturers for in terms of volumes and also profits. Apart from that, remember, a lower capacity utilization leads to a higher per unit fixed cost. So I think the cost pressure is there on the manufacturers. At the same time, there is no denying that the festival season is very important for making up the volumes which the OEMs have lost so much in Q1. So there is that fine balance. And again, I will not like to say that discounts will go up or promotions will go up. I think there will, my personal take is that probably it's not going to go up drastically as is expected. And remember, I also believe that consumers are actually looking at value rather than discount. And it is in that light that we have seen a lot of consumers post-pandemic shifting to more known brands, more reliable brand, more dominating brand. And that is where the value of the brand comes into the picture. And I think Maruti Suzuki is well placed in that sense because we have a huge network. We have a good presence. We are known as for our quality and reliable manufacturing. And that is the reason why we have seen the shift also in manufacturer market share terms towards the very better known brands. I think in balance, I would expect promo levels not to increase drastically.
Okay, all right. Well, let's talk about the rural segment, which obviously has been doing well. So, what's the demand trend or the sales you've been seeing in the rural areas, and also if you could share with us the traction that you're witnessing on inquiries on the digital front?
Yes. So, as far as the rural demand is concerned, yes, the bounce back which we have seen in the recent months we have seen a better bounce back in rural areas. And the reason is that we have had a very strong Rabi crop last year, about 151 million tons, which is the highest ever. We also have seen a very good Kharif sowing in the season, more than 1,000 lakh hectares already sowed, which is again about 7-8% above last year. And we also see a very good monsoon. So far, I think I was checking yesterday, it was about 10-12% over last year. And it's been much more uniform this year. So a very positive stories as far as rural goes. And the other thing is that the COVID, the COVID areas, the containment areas, the red spot zones for COVID are more towards urban centers, like you had Chennai or Bangalore or Mumbai, Pune, Delhi, etc. So I think all in balance, therefore, the rural demand has seen a much better bounce back. And I can see that in August also, even though urban areas also grew, rural growth was much faster. By the way, this has been the trend in the last 10 years as the economy is expanding and rural incomes are going up. With the result that what used to be 10% of the total portfolio in Maruti Suzuki, rural sales is now almost 40% of the portfolio. As far as the digitalization is concerned, yes, one of the big trends, which I think has emerged very clearly from the post-pandemic era, has been the digitalization levels which consumers want for purchase of anything, including cars. And there has been a digital platform which is being developed by different OEMs. Maruti Suzuki is a very strong digital platform. Our web inquiries, which were just about 3% or so 3 years back, and we started the process of digitalization actually pre-pandemic. We didn't know that pandemic will come, but we knew that this was a trend. And now, after the pandemic, actually the acceleration has been very high towards digitalization. As a result, almost 35% of our inquiries now come on the digital platform. That's the way it's going to be, I think, even once the world and India recovers from pandemic. I think the digitalization is here to stay, and Maruti Suzuki has been trying to digitalize all the touch points with the customer. There are 26 such touch points, and we have digitalized almost all of them, except, of course, the test drive and the delivery of the car.
All right, Mr. Srivastava, thank you so much for joining us today on the newsroom. That's Maruti Suzuki talking about the sort of recovery being witnessed in demand. The festive season sales as well is something, that's going to be on everybody's radar.